It's called the 5-word review. The movie I saw most recently was Rango. And for the most part, this is a very solid animated film. Although one thing that really stuck out to me, and it's actually a positive word for me, is how dark it was. This is going to be my first word. The humor in this is, well, rather dark. There's a lot of implied sexual innuendos. And you know how in kids' movies, or I guess it's not really a kids' movie, but you know how in movies that a lot of kids are going to see, typically, whenever one of the animated characters is quote-unquote defeated in battle, you never actually see the character, like, die. It's always like an implied death. As an adult, you know, okay, that character died. But the kids, you know, the character just disappears or something, or they don't actually die, or maybe they do, but you don't actually see it. In this movie, a lot of people die. Like, a lot of characters are actually killed off. And it's just very dark in that sense. That, along with the sexual humor, and there are actually quite a few, and this is something I really appreciated, there are a lot of references to old films. Specifically, there's one in the beginning. There's a reference to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's really quick, but it's awesome. And if you've seen the movie, you'll definitely recognize it. There's another one later where one of the characters looks up to the stars, and he's talking about, you know, I don't know, he's, you know, saying something motivational. And you know how in movies, a lot of time, animated movies, you know, figures, like the stars will form figures and stuff. And, you know, like the Lion King, there's that line in the stars or whatever. Here, it's like this panorama of different objects, and if you look on the left side of the screen, there are actually some TIE fighters in the stars, which is awesome. I thought that was just great. So those are the two big ones that stuck out. But there's a lot of other film references that are just really well done, really subtle, but if you catch them, they're really funny. So dark is my first word. It doesn't really seem like it. Like, I'm sure kids will enjoy it for the animation and the voice acting, and but God, the humor, it's just dark. But I'd say that's a good thing. And my second word is fun. I mean, it's pretty simple, straightforward. If you go into this movie expecting to laugh a bit, expecting to have a good time, you'll get exactly that. It's a fun movie, enjoyable for all ages. It has humor for all ages. It appeals to everybody. So, in that respect, it's a great film. Although my third word is a bad word, and it's disjointed. Everything about this film is great, except the plot structure. It is all over the place. It's like they introduce the conflict, or at least the conflict of the movie is that someone has stolen all of the water in this town of, what's it called? I don't even know what the town is called. Someone has stolen all of the water, and they're experiencing a major drought, which means that, you know, everyone's going to die of dehydration pretty soon if they don't get some more water. And someone has stolen all their last remaining supply of water, so Rango, you know, is out to get the water back. And as he embarks on this quest, and the beginning of his, you know, embarking, actually the day he goes on the quest, there's all these other characters in town who decide to join up with him and become, you know, his crack team of people who are going to help him on this adventure and help him get the water back. But these characters, everyone aside from Rango and the co-star, the girl, I don't remember the character or the actress, the female lead, everyone except for those two, they have no development whatsoever. There's all these characters that are just thrown in there to become this crack team of people who are going to help Rango, and we don't care about them, and it just seems really sudden, and the whole movie's like that. There's a lot of different conflicts that arise. They get resolved really quickly, and then all of a sudden there's a new one that just pops up out of nowhere. Excuse me. And I guess the pacing was bad in that respect. Seems like they were trying to go with too many ideas in one movie, and they just didn't give enough attention to each idea. It's like a bunch of small conflicts that eventually tie together to this big one, this big conspiracy that's really easy to see coming from the beginning. when you're introduced to the soon-to-be villain. You know, there's the big betrayal, but it's really obvious. And so my third word is disjointed. The plot was honestly rather painful. It's the one thing that's preventing me from really liking this movie. But those are my three adjectives. As far as my two technical terms go, the animation is one and the voice acting is the other. I saw a really interesting documentary on how this film was actually made. And what the director did is he actually got his voice actors to physically act out each scene. So the camera work you're seeing in the film, the vast majority of it, those actors actually acted it out, and those were the actual shots used in the animated film. That they would just film the actors doing it, and then they would just animate on top of that. So, it really, and I know his goal with doing that was to get the actors to really let their silly side out. Let them embrace that this is an animated film. It's going to be directed at kids, and it's going to be wacky and over the top. And I think that really brought out some amazing voice acting. So, in that respect, the direction led to some really outstanding voice acting that's very funny, very well done, very quick. And the animation on top of that is some of the best animation I've seen in a very long time. So, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward movie. It's fun, dark, the animation, the voice acting are awesome, except the plot is really, really painfully disjointed. But if you can get by that, if you can just go into this movie thinking, hey, I'm going to have a good time, I'm probably going to laugh a bit, I'm going to enjoy this voice acting and the animation, then you're going to have a great time. So overall, I would highly recommend Rango to be seen in theaters if you're looking for something to just give you something to do one day when you want to go to the movie and you got nothing else to see. Yeah. Really simple, boring review. Have a nice day, guys, and as always, thank you very much for your time. See ya.